Welcome to a review of Batman and Robin. This movie, it gave me so much nostalgia as a kid, but in a different way this time. As watching Batman and Robin back in the day, I was like, oh, this movie's pretty fun, you know? And then I watch it nowadays and I'm like, this movie sucks compared to some of the other Batman movies nowadays. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about why Batman and Robin is a really stupid movie, but also why it's a great comedy, but not in the way that you think. It's like, oh, haha, that's really dumb. I made notes during this movie of all the dumb parts. Look at all this stuff. It's like, I had to make notes of all the dumb things that were happening or stupid lines. There were so many puns in this movie. Bat puns, poison ivy puns, but especially freeze puns. And the dialogue is terrible. The acting is atrocious. The sets look plastic. A lot of times they would be freezing people over and it looks like plastic. So just everything about this movie was just upsetting. I had to take a couple breaks during the movie because I was just like, I can't handle it anymore. This movie's really dumb. And so I don't even know where to begin. I'm just going to vent a little and look through my notes and talk about some dumb things and go from here and there. So we'll see how it goes. So actually I'm going to start first at the beginning of the movie because the first 15 minutes of this movie were really stupid. Like, my first page of notes is all just from the first 15 minutes. And then, I'm not saying that the rest of the movie isn't stupid, but the stupidity slows down. So I'm actually digging the first 70 seconds of the movie, but that's because it's the title sequences. You have the Batman music, the Batman theme playing, and it shows some of the credits. Then it goes Batman and Robin, and the music's playing. But then right after that, after the title disappears, they show you Bat Butt and Bat Groin, and the turning around and the zooming in of the Batman, Bat Butt, Bat Groin, the stupid weapons that they use, and they're adding them all on. That was so, I don't even know what to say about that. Next you see the Batmobile and it has a disco ball spinning inside of it for some reason. Then the first line of the movie comes from Robin. I want a car. Chicks dig the car. And then Batman's reply, this is why Superman works alone. Already, you just realize how idiotic this movie is. At that point, you're only 2.5 minutes into the movie. Then they leave, and Alfred's like, I'll cancel the pizzas. What? They order pizzas? And then they introduce the weird ice-looking plastic sets, and Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze starts doing his ice puns. Oh, ice, and I'm good chill. Oh, I'm the Iceman. And you're only 5 minutes into the movie now. After that, the most non-imitating way for Batman to introduce him to someone, like Christian Bale, I'm Batman. But then you have George Clooney as Batman come in and say, he crashes in, hi Freeze, I'm Batman. But then he rides down this dinosaur to kick Mr. Freeze like the Flintstones, and then Robin bursts through a wall on a motorcycle, and it literally is a bat symbol. Like the hole in the wall, when he crashes through, it ends up being a bat symbol. And then he slides on the floor, and while he's sliding, he bumps like a little stand, and it knocks over a vase, except it doesn't knock it over. When he knocks the stand, the vase flies up into the air, like it's avoiding gravity. So then there's more terrible dialogue. When Batman and Robin get knocked over, they click their heels together like Wizard of Oz to make these ice skates appear. And then they start playing hockey because apparently not only do they have all these great detective skills and crime fighting skills, but they can also ice skate. And they're trying to get this diamond so that Mr. Freeze, first of all, he wants to have this diamond so he can put it inside of his suit to make him cold, which that doesn't make any sense. But they're trying to get it so that they're trying to save the city, and I don't know why, but they're trying to get this huge diamond and they're ice skating with it, and it makes no sense, and everyone's ice skating around, and it's terrible fights, and I don't know, just none of it makes any sense, and that's only 15 minutes into the movie, so yeah. So we still have the rest of the movie, like an hour and 45 minutes for this other half of the video, and I still have 3 pages of notes, so I'm going to try to condense some of this, all my anger and frustration, into just a couple minutes. Poison Ivy, she was okay. She definitely was not great, but whenever she was Pamela Isley or whatever her name is, it was like overacting. But then when she turns into Poison Ivy, she's trying to be so seductive with everyone, and so that might be okay with the acting. And then Bane, when they introduce Bane, he's just a mindless brute that literally just says a few lines in the movies, and I'll get to that. Just the toxic chemicals that Poison Ivy uses, it turns nerds into hotties apparently, because she was super nerdy, but then she comes out and I'm Poison Ivy now, and it's okay, I'm sure you are. And I was I probably should have mentioned this earlier, I'm Poison. So great, now there's plant puns. Already you have Mr. Freeze doing his puns, but now you have plant puns. Come on. At one point, Poison Ivy also says, my blood has become aloe and my skin has become chlorophyll and my lips are filled with poison. Okay, no. Scientifically inaccurate. You have Mr. Freeze who's making his minions sing along to some kind of ice cartoon that he's watching. Apparently he's like Elsa and he lives in this ice castle, but then he's like making his minions sing along. Come on, sing along. It's like, why would you do that? And then he also smokes the cigar. Why is he smoking a cigar if he's Mr. Freeze? He needs a diamond to put into his suit, but then he like smokes a cigar and you're only 30 minutes into the movie at this point. Side note, Alfred's a pretty good character and he's a pretty good actor in this movie. Back to my anger. When Poison Ivy was coming up to Bruce Wayne at some kind of event, there's like 4 cops surrounding her and they're like, oh ma'am, you can't be up here. Why don't you just stop her? Why aren't you, like, you can't touch her? Is that like against the law? Stop her. And then later on, there's pink gorilla suits. If you haven't seen this movie, don't see it, but like, I don't want to explain the pink gorilla suits. I don't know why they're at this event. And then eventually you have the Bat credit card. Batman and Robin are enticed by Poison Ivy's charms and they're bidding over her at this event. And Batman pulls out his credit card and he's like, I never leave the house without it. Time to get to some really cheesy dialogue in the movie. At one point, Batman punches this guy, and before he knocks over, he just says, good night. Like, Batman at one point tells Commissioner Gordon that he has 11 minutes to thaw the citizens. Like at this one thing that happened, he froze a lot of the citizens, and he's just like, you have 11 minutes to thaw them, and then starts going somewhere to catch Freeze. Also, why doesn't he help? Doesn't he give him like some tools or anything to help him? And then at one point, Commissioner Gordon tells Ivy after Mr. Freeze leaves, Miss Ivy, you've just met one of the most sinister men in Gotham. And then he walks away, like literally right after that. You just met one of the most sinister men in Gotham. When they catch Mr. Freeze and put him in jail, one of the guards literally says, drag him into the cold beam. Later they meet the Neon Face Gang. It's like these weird neon colors on them, and you're only halfway into the movie. I'm trying to hurry, everyone, but there's so much to say. So then when you get later into the other half of the movie, then comes a lot of the really cheesy dialogue. So I'm going to list off some examples. Batgirl's falling off this unfinished road and Robin catches her and he says, so this is where you hang out. And then at one point, Ivy asks if Freeze is a 50 big and tall, and Freeze says, no, I always go a size smaller. It makes me look slimmer. Ugh. And then you have Freeze. He literally mentions that he needs the diamonds from his hideout. And then at another point, Ivy makes mention about the anatomically correct rubber bat suit that she likes. And that's because it has bat nipples. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. You have bat butt, but then you have bat nipples. So yeah, Batgirl discovers, or whatever her name is, I don't even know, but she discovers the Batcave, and then Alfred's like, I knew that you would find this sometime, so then he made this suit for her, and then there's more bat turning around, bat butt, bat chest, bat everything, and then she goes off, and the Batman and Robin is trying to find Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze. Robin tells Ivy, oh, I want to make sure that you're serious about turning over a new leaf. Oh, the puns! They move on to another battle later on, and then apparently all 3 of them change suits. Like they all have these black and silver suits now, and it's like, so they just changed in the middle of it for no reason? And then Bane's choking Robin and Batgirl at the same time, and they both just kind of like kick his tubes, like, oh, let's kick it, and it just easily falls out, and then he's like, ah! And it's like, well, that was really easy to destroy him. And at the very end, these people are falling and Batman goes to save them, and then once he does save them, they're all on like this ice wall, and he just kind of like leaves them at the bottom and then flies up, and while he's flying up, he picks up Robin and Batgirl and takes them to the top. Why didn't you take the civilians too to the top? You just left them on this ice wall. I saved the best for last though, and by best, I mean worst. Bane is the worst in this movie. Like, they don't give him anything to do. At the beginning, I mentioned he's a mindless brute, and literally, he just has a few lines in the movies. Let's describe all of the lines to you right now. The first one is when Poison Ivy says to Bane while he's driving, Gotham Observatory, Bane, and step on it. Step. Ivy says to Bane while in a gorilla suit, enough monkey business, Bane. Monkey, work. Ivy says, honey, clean up this mess. We've got company coming. Bane, honey, company. Ivy later on, exit, Bane. Exit. Almost done. One point, Freeze says, it's the size of your gun that counts. Gun. Oh, I'm sorry, is the party over? Over. Freeze again, but leave the bat to me. Bat. And then lastly, when he's placing bombs on the ground, like these little icicle bombs, every time he has to say bomb. 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 He does that like 6 times. So that's it. Let's all be happier now, and so yeah, I don't have to watch this movie again. I don't even know why I watched it. I just wanted to look at the flaws in the movie, and there are a lot. Nothing else to say. If you like this video, like it, and leave a comment if you think this movie is also stupid, and visit my youtube.com/movie reviews channel so that you can see my reviews that I do, and it's actually about other better movies. Thanks so much for watching, and happy viewing.